Ottawa condos are where a lot of smart people make expensive mistakes because on paper, they look safe. Lower price point, easier entry, less maintenance, and the classic line, worst case, we'll just rent it out. That logic sounds reasonable until you actually own one, because right now in Ottawa, condos are a segment where weak assumptions get punished the fastest. Not because condos are bad, not because the whole market is collapsing, but because this is the part of the market where the hidden stuff matters the most. The building, the fees, the financing, the rental reality, and the layout you'll have to live with or try to resell later. And February's board data numbers back this up. Apartment condo sales in Ottawa were down 28.2% year over year. Active listings climbed to 685. Months of inventory sat at 5.6. We're in a full-blown buyer's market, and the average days on market is stretched to 43 days. While the benchmark pricing improved from January, apartment condo benchmark prices were still down almost 3% year over year in February. So this is not a segment you can buy, sell, invest on pure autopilot. I've been selling real estate in Ottawa since 2002. I've sold over 1,000 homes. And what I'm seeing right now is this: condos that look easy to buy are not always easy to own. And the condos that look fine on MLS are often the hardest ones to get out of later. So in this video, I'm gonna break down for you the 5 hidden risks in the Ottawa condo market right now, and exactly how to protect yourself before one of these mistakes costs you real money. Let's get into it. So for quick context, before we hit the 5 risks, let's be clear on the market backdrop, because I don't want this video to sound like fear-mongering. Ottawa's condos are not dead. They are still a segment where buyers have more choice, sellers face more competition, and weak product gets exposed faster. In February 2026, condos remained the softest part of the Ottawa real estate market. ORAB, so Ottawa Real Estate Board, noted that this segment had carried elevated supply since late 2025. And while inventory measures eased a bit, the average price rose month over month. The overall tone was still balanced to soft, and the overall tone is in a buyer's market. So buyers are slower, they are pickier, they compare more, they hesitate more, and they punish compromise harder. In a hotter market, some of these problems get overlooked. However, in the market that we're in right now, they're exposed. And that's the frame for this whole video. This is a first trap. Condo fees are not fees. They're a variable mortgage. This is the first trap. A lot of buyers look at condo fees just like a line item. They're not. They're part of the affordability history. They affect monthly cost. They affect buyer psychology. And later, they affect resale. And what I'm seeing right now is buyers doing the monthly math much more aggressively than they did when money felt cheaper and inventory was tighter. They're not just asking, what's the purchase price? They're asking, what does this cost me every month compared to the unit down the street? And that's where condo fees are quietly destroying value, because condo fees move. They move because utilities. They move because of insurance. They move because labor, maintenance, snow removal, repairs, and reserve fund pressure. And then there's the ugly part: special assessments. That's the polite condo term for you now need to write a check. And in a condo segment where buyers already have options, fee problems hit twice as hard. First, the owner pays more every month. Second, the future buyer qualifies for less and gets nervous faster. That's what people miss. High fee buildings is not just more expensive to own, it can and will be harder to resale because the buyer compares the monthly pain, not just the sticker price. So if you're a buyer, do not underwrite the unit only. Underwrite the building. Look at the fee trend, not just today's number. Look at the reserve fund. Look at the major upcoming components: windows, balconies, elevators, garage maintenance, roofing, mechanical. And if you're a seller in a building with heavier fees, you need to understand the game. You're not winning on price per square foot alone. You need to win on condition, presentation, clarity, and pricing discipline. Because right now, buyers are comparing monthly cost just as much as list price. Risk number 2, the building can kill the deal before the unit ever gets a chance. This is one of the biggest condo truths that a lot of buyers learn too late. You're not just buying a unit, you're buying into a building history. And some building stories hurt financing, hurt demand, and will definitely hurt your resale opportunity. I've seen this over and over in the 2+ decades of selling properties. The buyer falls in love with the kitchen, the floors, the view, the staging, and completely ignores the fact that the building itself may create friction. That friction can come from high investor ratio, litigation, insurance issues, reserve fund weakness, poor management reputation, or just a building that lenders and buyers don't feel great about. And in a segment where sales are already softer and days on market are longer, the last thing you want is a building that shrinks your buyer pool even more. See, Ottawa condos right now are averaging 43 days on market, where the average townhome and resale is under 25. It tells us immediately that it's not a segment where uncertainty helps you. This is where deals fall apart. This is where lenders get conservative. This is where appraisals get sticky. This is where sellers sit there wondering why showings aren't converting. And I'm seeing buyers right now become much more cautious once they sense even a little building level risk. The buyer move here. Give yourself enough time and enough conditional period to actually review the condo documents properly. Do not rush into a condo because the unit looks nice online. Pretty units in problematic buildings are one of the easiest ways to make a bad purchase look smart. If you're a seller, well, if your building has friction, your job is to reduce that uncertainty. That means clean documentation. That means transparency. That means tighter pricing. That means making the unit feel as turnkey and as low friction as possible. Because in this market, pricing matters the most. Risk number 3, resale condos are quietly competing against better math. This one's subtle and it's brutal because a lot of resale condo sellers think they're competing against other resale listings. Sometimes they are, but often they're competing against new construction, almost new inventory, or builder inventory with incentive packages that change the monthly payment dramatically. See, builders don't always compete on the same way resale sellers do. They can offer upgrade credits, closing cost credits, preferred lender rate programs, temporary buydowns, or incentive packages that make the deal feel way better publicly than just slashing price. That matters because buyers are not just comparing your price against another price. They're comparing the overall ownership cost versus another ownership cost. And when inventory is high, like it is right now, buyers are more value sensitive. That math matters even more than ever. I'm seeing that right now in the market. A resale condo can be fairly priced and still feel weaker than competing option if it doesn't answer one question immediately. Why is this the best value available right now? That's it. That's the question. Not, is it nice? Not, is it staged? Not, did we price it near the last sale? That's the bar. So if you're a buyer right now, the move is run the total cost math. Do not get sticker price focused. Sometimes the resale condo market is absolutely a better deal. Sometimes it's not, but don't guess. If you're a seller right now, the move is stop marketing a resale condo like it was 2020 or 2021. COVID's done, thankfully. You need a value case, not a hope and a prayer. Because if a builder or a newer competing unit makes the monthly number feel easier, your listing gets ignored faster than you think. Risk number 4, I'll just rent it out. Well, that backup plan is weaker than people think. This is a huge one, especially for investors, but also for owner occupiers who think if this doesn't work, I'll just keep it and rent it out. Well, that backup plan is not as bulletproof as people think it is. CMHC reported that vacancy rates rose across major cities in 2025. Rental condo apartment vacancies also increased and owners became more flexible on rents to avoid sitting longer. CMHC's 2026 outlook, well, it says rental affordability should continue improving as high vacancies and slower rent growth persist. That doesn't mean nobody can rent a condo. Don't get me wrong. It means the lazy assumption is dead. And this is exactly how people get trapped. They buy based on optimistic rent. They underestimate vacancy. They underestimate carrying costs, and then they realize the rent does not bail them out as cleanly as they expected. What I'm seeing right now working with buyers and sellers is more rental competition, more tenant choice, and more situations where landlords need to be flexible on rent incentives, parking, timing, or even including extras. So if you're buying a condo as an investment or as a maybe I'll rent it later property, you need to underwrite it conservatively, not emotionally, not hopefully, but conservatively. That means modest rent assumptions, vacancy buffers, realistic repairs, carrying costs, and the ability to hold for a longer stretch. Because in this market, the condo investor can get squeezed from both sides. One side, weaker appreciation upside in short term, and on the other side, softer rental leverage than expected. And if you're selling to investors, present the property like a business, not a fantasy. Give them clean rent comps, clear operating costs, a clean history on the building. No fluff. Risk number 5, a condo can look modern and still be a bad product. This, to me, is the hidden killer because not every condo ages badly from the finishes. A lot of condos age badly from the functionality, and buyers are catching that much faster now. That is what I mean by functional obsolescence. Awkward layouts, tiny bedrooms, no real dining rooms, terrible storage, bad work from home usability, loud exposures, poor natural light. The list goes on and on. I'm seeing buyers forgive dated kitchens faster than they forgive bad function. This is a big shift, and I would caution you because when buyers have choice, they stop rationalizing compromise. A few years ago, someone might have said, it's not ideal, but I'll make it work. Now they say, next. That's the market we're in right now. And after 24 years of selling condos and residential properties, one of the most expensive mistakes I see condo buyers make is buying for finishes over functionality. A nicer backsplash will not save a bad layout. A fresh paint will not fix poor livability. A sleek lobby will not help you if the unit itself feels compromised every single day. So the buyer move here, stop shopping condos like you're shopping for phones. A better camera does not fix a bad life. Ask the hard questions. Can I actually work from home here? Where does my stuff go? Does the bedroom fit my real furniture? Will I hate this in February? Can I resale this to someone like me in a couple years? If you're a seller, what's the move? Well, if your layout has compromises, don't pretend it doesn't exist. Stage around the objections, acknowledge the reality, price the reality, and make the strongest possible case for who the unit is for and go for it. Because in a buyer's market, which we're in right now, layout penalties show up fast. They show up in days on market, and they will show up on final sale prices. So the condo survival checklist. So here's the takeaways. Ottawa's condo market are not bad. They are a segment where the hidden mistakes get punished the fastest right now. And that's what February's data is sharing with us. It's exactly what I'm seeing in the market right now working with buyers and sellers. So whether you're buying, selling, or investing, your job is simple. Treat the condo like it's a variable rate mortgage. Treat the building like it needs approval, not just for you. Compare resale value versus new build incentives on a total cost perspective. Underwrite rental contingencies and respect function and livability because buyers are much less forgiving when they have options. Because most condo mistakes do not hurt on offer day. They hurt later when you try and refinance, when you try and rent it, or when you call me or your agent in a few years and you try and sell it. When you realize the market sees the flaws that you ignored. And after 24 years in this business and over 1,000 homes sold, I can tell you this with confidence. The biggest condo mistake are usually not obvious at the beginning. They reveal themselves later when you're already committed. And that is exactly why you need to watch my next video right here. Because if you own an Ottawa condo or you're thinking about buying one and you want to understand why some condo owners are feeling financially stuck right now, watch this video next, the Ottawa condo crisis. Owners trapped and values are sliding. Be sure to check it out right now.